Good morning and welcome to the last Monday of the month. It's July 28th. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. This is Kyle Mountsier. Today we're talking about EU's tariff finally getting to the ground and a couple other things as well.
Kind of was a lot really matter because this EU tariff thing was raising everybody's blood pressure.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. And you know, sometimes when you buy like an outfit and you're like, this is going to look great, and then you put it on, you're like, I kind of hate this. That's kind of how I feel about my new color grading on my camera.
Now you got it. Like, explain to the people. Well, first of all, if you don't know what color grading is, it's all about the fact that lenses need a little bit of like light correction.
Camera bodies are different. Yeah.
All
so the whites need to look white and the skin colors need to look skin color and all the way. So Sony has a hard time with skin tones sometimes. Kyle's on a Canon camera. Now, if you're listening, you have to go watch this. Kyle's on a Canon. I'm on a Sony. And I was like, yeah, my shirt's looking kind of yellow. So Nathan came in. We adjusted it. I mean, granted, the picture's really small. We were adjusting. We're like, looks great. Now that I'm big, now my shirt looks like, you know, I washed it with something orange. It does. It does.
Yeah, but your skin tones look better. Look at your face.
Your skin looks beautiful. You look tan.
So
you look like you've been at the beach this last week.
And then if we fix that, it looks like I'm February upstate New York pale. If we make my shirt look, and that's not how I look. We'll figure this out. What a way to start a week. I know. Look, we have a next week. We have an upcoming ASOTU Edge webinar. These are our quick shot webinars, 25-30 minutes with our friends at CarRx, driving loyalty data with Shane Wilson and Levi Beatty. This is going to be Wednesday at 2 p.m., but you can go to asotu.com, register now. You can be there live, or you can get the recording. You know how webinars work, and these are always a ton of fun.
Yeah, this one's really great. It's near and dear to my heart, talking about anything retention, anything loyalty. You know, it's the way to stay in business.
That's how to win. That's how you win the long game.
Yep. Right.
All right. Speaking of the long game, European automakers got a breather from the U.S. and as the U.S. and EU struck a long-awaited trade deal, dialing back tariff threats that had been weighing heavily on the industry. The U.S. will apply now a 15% tariff on EU goods, easing pressure from the previously targeted 25%. Big difference. Stocks of German automakers like BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen initially surged on the news. Barclays analysts note the 15% rate is 6 times higher than pre-Trump levels. So what is that? What is it, like 3%, 2-3%? The EU may cut its 10% tariff on U.S. imports, benefiting BMW and Mercedes, which export U.S.-built models back to Europe. BMW and VW also hoping for additional relief tied to these investments they're making in the U.S. Barclays said, quote, logging in 15% tariffs as a run rate will still represent a year-on-year headwind in 2026 versus 2025. So there's still going to be a little bit of a headwind, but I feel like everyone can like get to work now.
Yeah, you can at least breathe knowing what the stakes are, right? Yeah. The difference between that 15 and 25, it's almost the difference of the 2.5 to the 15. So still a stark difference in what it takes to get these goods into the US. You know, if we talk to our friend John Sacco, I'm sure this has a major impact on his business, maybe not as much as the 25% would, but it's still going to have a lot of manufacturers, goods, producers, importers kind of struggling to meet the balance of like consumer pricing, demand, the taxes on these goods coming in. But definitely it's like, okay, now we know where the stakes are. Here's where we can put stuff in the ground, and here's how we can move forward.
Anytime a conversation like this gets to ground finally, like a lot of times the worst part of all of this stuff is the uncertainty, is the consumer sentiment, and what should I be thinking about, right? Once all this gets, I think 30, 60 days from now, we just won't be talking about it anymore, hopefully, and it'll just be part of doing business from the consumer standpoint. And the retail dealers will be able to just get on knowing a little bit more certainty about their inventory and what they can expect. So there you go. We'll call that forward progress.
Yeah.
Speaking of forward progress,
right.
First segue of the week.
There it is. It's a real one too.
Toyota's next 4 years will be packed with new EVs, freshened bestsellers, and a surprising push to keep sedans relevant. The Highlander is now we've always asked what the differentiation is some of these models, but now we know the Highlander will go all electric in 2025 following the new Grand Highlander, a 3-row electric crossover. Next line, a 3-row electric crossover BZ5X will launch from Kentucky late 2025. That's like kind of like a Model Y competitor, right?
Yeah.
We would consider that. RAV4 design is moving up to 2025 with a new platform, safety and infotainment upgrades. Toyota's continued to invest in sedans. The Corolla freshens in 2025. The Camry will be redesigned in 2028. A compact Corolla pickup is in development, set to rival the Ford Maverick, expected in 2027. And a Kia Toyota's GR Supra may end production in 2026. Though emotions could keep it alive.
Yeah, I mean the
people love that car.
It's kind of sad that the Supra may end in 2026. I don't know if we'll see that happening. The stark thing for me here is that we're talking about changes in a line in 2028. And this is the thing that I think the Chinese manufacturers are challenging the rest of the world with these 12 to 18-month development cycles, completely refreshing brands, manufacturing facilities, builds in those timelines, because the available technology, the body style differentiation, all of those types of things have to keep up with consumer demand. And you still see some of the legacy automakers making 3, 4, 5 year challenges and changes and pivots. And I just don't think that pace is going to keep up with the way the consumer likes to interact. You see Apple, they've already struggled with the fact that 1 year over 1 year and changing their hardware and their software is starting to wane in its ability to keep customers excited. So we'll see if OEMs can do the same.
I think a derivative effect of what you just mentioned, this significantly increased production cycle where products go from concept to market in 18 months, it's going to wreak absolute havoc on the used car market.
That's right.
And especially when the Chinese brands, now thinking a little more internationally here, but the Chinese brands with all of these EV makers likely going out of business, like so many. I don't know, there's like 120.
Oh my goodness, cars just sitting on the road. Wow.
Sitting on the road, or like, what is that again? What was that? Like the used car market. I mean, we've seen pictures of like EV boneyards, right? Where all that stuff out there, and it's not going to get any better. But I think Toyota, obviously, just a staple, so savvy, so ahead of the curve by just being patient and reacting to the market or predicting the market. I don't know that they predict the market as much as they react. Like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this. Like, he's like, people think I see the future. He goes, I'm just a great counterpuncher. I just understand what punch is being thrown first.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's Toyota.
And you watch it quickly and move quickly. That's the difference.
That's true. Speaking of moving quickly.
Stop. Segue.
Want to move
almost
it might be too late.
Yeah, millions are sharing deeply personal issues with AI, but surprising admission from OpenAI Sam Altman has lawyers and plenty of everyday users buzzing. He admitted last week that ChatGPT conversations don't carry the same confidentiality as talks with a lawyer, doctor, or therapist, raising big questions about privacy in the AI age. His quote last week was, "We should have the same concept of privacy for your conversations with AI that we do with a therapist or whatever, and we haven't figured that out yet." Legal experts warn that without privilege, user data could be subpoenaed if OpenAI is storing it. OpenAI did note, however, that with chat history off, especially on paid plans, data isn't saved or used for training. Enterprise-level ChatGPT offers encryption and compliance, but the free and plus versions lack those safeguards. So even people on the plus versions aren't getting that full level of encryption. And free, man, if you're in a free account and you're sharing consumer data, personal conversations, questions about whether or not you should do something dramatic with your life, any of that, like, watch out. Watch out, fam.
Should I go to Coldplay concert?
Oh,
yeah.
Should have asked. Definitely should have asked.
Subpoena. Basically, what I've seen about this is, the temporary chat function. If you're asking something, it's not supposed to save the chat history, right?
Yep.
So they were saying if the data doesn't exist because the chat history isn't preserved, then what is there to be subpoenaed? The flip side is like the utilitarian nature of keeping chat history on is the fact that now you can actually have a deeper, more meaningful, more beneficial and helpful conversation because context is safe.
Right.
So, I think it will take, like, people are talking about this. I think it will take the first real life example of somebody subpoenaing ChatGPT data, chat history, and using that, submitting it as evidence. And it's going to happen, a high profile case. The same rules always apply. Like, just don't do anything that's illegal, and you'll probably be in a much better.
Stuff.
But realistically, I think Sam Altman's position on this. He's like, well, it's kind of, if we're using this as a therapist, like we need the same legal confidentiality, but it's tricky.
Well, I think the big thing to note here especially for anyone in retail auto, where you're not like a tech company and your people are experimenting with asking questions of any large language model.
Yes.
Anything, having strict guidelines and education internally on how, when, and where to use these things, right?
Gosh. Especially with PII floating around dealerships like it does.
Do not let your
no contracts,
be uploading this stuff into, like, I would say you should be paying for all of your employees to have some AI that is like a generalized AI. Maybe you have Google Gemini, or maybe you have ChatGPT, whatever it is. Pay for one so that you can direct them to use it, because they want to use it no matter what. But make sure that you pay for them at least, so that you can say that's the only one you're allowed to use, and you must be logged into our business plan so that you don't have stuff exposed.
Brian Ortega, you got my Run DMC reference. I almost let it drag on longer than it did, but it's tricky. I think I might need that as a new trigger pad.
That's strong. That would be good. If Brian's listening, I bet you he's got you covered.
Well, will YouTube flag that if I just like play the little bridge of it's tricky? Well, is it like it's like like a number of seconds? No, I think you get like 3 seconds.
We'll get someone to research that. Somebody knows. Maybe we got to throw a little flair in it,
because we have a second. So we talked about. I'm going to release a YouTube post on this soon about my first use of the AI agent. Right, and so I have this little thing. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to end in a real world physical thing, which is the coolest part in my mind.
Oh, that's great.
However, I read an article today talking about how people are starting to like seed websites that AI agents may be scrubbing with instructions to get the AI to do things you didn't intend it to do. So like, I have my agent out there going to a site, and it's reading the data, and the data instructs the AI to take an action or ask me for something so it can like fish it out. I was like, you suckers.
Watch out, y'all.
I know.
I'm telling you, look, this is the reality. And I think this is maybe the clamp on all of this is over the next 2-3 years, as more and more people are leveraging this type of service, in-person meetings, whether it be because they're worried about whether or not that's a real video, or whether that's you actually talking, or how you're interacting with the world, or like shopping in-person events, going to the local eatery, whatever it may be, are going to be more and more important to our daily lives, and they're going to be sought after. And so create community around those is what I would say.
Yep. There you go. Brian Ortega, I took your advice. He said, ask ChatGPT how many seconds we can use of the Run DMC clip. And we went temporary chat. I don't need any of this getting subpoenaed now. It says there's no safe number of seconds, even 1 second. You need explicit. However, it's often quoted that 10 seconds, maybe it's a myth. It's not a law. What might be permitted is transformative uses like critique, parody, or news, more likely to qualify. Just like this little segue button.
Stop. Segue.
Okay. Now the stop is definitely from MC Hammer. Actually, Brian Ortega made that. So I think he made a copyright safe version.
Come on now.
And I also don't think it'll be competing with the original.
Make us another version, Brian. Hear us from across the interwebs.
Got him. All right. Listen, we're just doing all kinds of craziness on the last Monday of the month. Listen, the month close is here. Lean in, make it count. Think about what those customers are going to do 3 years from now, not just this one time you're serving them.